Bonjour, mon amis. Hello, my coyote artists. Today we're going to be talking about texture. So, in art, you know there are two types of textures. There's textures that you can see. So the artist made it look like it has texture, like it's bumpy or it's soft or it's fuzzy or it's furry or it's slimy or it's pokey, but they're just using their art techniques to make it look like it has that texture. And then you have texture that you can touch. So if something is fuzzy and furry and it is actually fuzzy and furry, we call that tactile texture. So you have visual texture and you have tactile texture. So let's take a look at some of my favorite artists that use texture. So let's talk about texture. So there is texture all around us in your house and outside in nature, in the man-made and natural world. Let's take a look at some of my favorite artists that use texture. So this is Anselm Kiefer. He has some wonderful pieces that show texture. He primarily does painting and drawing, and I always say mixed media because he will actually mix things from nature, dirt and seeds and actually sunflower stalks into his pieces. So here we have the Milky Way painting that he's done, and this one is called the Wooden Room. And you can definitely see that it looks like wood. It definitely looks like it has that texture. Let's take a look at some other artists. Here we have Ramir Bearden, who actually is a collage artist, and he uses all these really great pictures from magazines and newspapers, and he'll even create his own paper to show texture. So this one is called The Train. And then here, this is printmaking, which we'll talk about in just a moment. This is called Rhinoceros by Albert Durer. And you can see this spiny, pokey, hard-looking rhinoceros that he actually printed on a plate and then inked the plate to create what's called a print. So let's talk about a little bit more about printmaking and how you get texture from printmaking. So printmaking can be done in all sorts of fun ways. Here you see styrofoam that's been carved into like with a dull pencil. And then what you do is either roll some or paint some ink on or roll some paint on, and then you press the styrofoam into a piece of paper while the ink or paint is wet, and it creates a print or a copy. Here you have fingerprints. Yes, your own little fingerprints have texture, and you use either ink or even a marker will work as long as you quickly put it onto a piece of paper. And then artists like Ed Emberley and all sorts of different artists do really fun things with adding pencil and pen and details with markers. Then you have this aluminum foil and marker spray and then spray bottle with water. And I actually have a video for us to show you how to do this. So you can see that you just take a piece of foil and then you have any type of markers and you draw directly on the foil. Then you're going to either spray a piece of paper or you can just carefully spray water onto your marker Not too much because it will actually start to run and blend together. But you want it to go quickly while it's wet. You just want it to be damp. You just want the paper to be damp or the foil to be damp. And just like this, you're going to rub the paper on top, and you will, depending on your paper, you will see some come through. Or you could even flip it over and rub on the other side. You can see how the markers made a faint little indent on the other side of the foil. You can see the design she was doing. Then you peel it off and the print is magically on the paper. Awesome! Okay, so let's talk about our art challenge this week. Your art challenge is to create an artwork that has a texture. You choose the subject and materials. If you would like to, try a printmaking technique. So it can be one that I have shown you, or there are actually tons of resources online about printmaking. So if you don't have some of the materials that I showed you, there's possibly something else that you could do. Or you can kind of do your own thing, like this wonderful artist. Her name is Dawn Lam, and this wonderful drip she called is called Born and Raised. You can see the beautiful color, but look at those textures. You do want to touch, but not touch too much. All right, my coyote artists, I can't wait to see what you come up with this week for texture. Remember, it can have visual texture or it can be tactile texture. Don't forget to upload your artwork onto Artsonia, and I hope to see you again real soon. Bonne journée, mon amis.